Yo, 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 and welcome to another episode of Roy's Podcast. I'm Roy Spencer.
And I'm Johnny Rodriguez, and this is Roy's Podcast. So, Roy, a lot's been going on lately in terms of, cryptocurrency, stocks, and just international affairs and domestic affairs. But a lot's been happening with, the good old AMC. So let's start off there.
The good old-fashioned AMC. Well, we got AMC, we got GameStop. You name them. You name some of your favorite stocks from the February and March kind of fun times, and we got them happening this week. So, what happened this week? We had AMC reaching the levels of surpassing $48, which is in one day. That's an increase of roughly like 28 or 29%. Just casually, right? And then GameStop reached $225 as well in the same day. Just casually.
What was it at?
Before that, they started the day at I don't know. I think it was like 38 for AMC, and then like somewhere in like the hundreds for GameStop. And it's so funny. Like you know who Jim Cramer is?
Yeah.
The guy on Mad Money. I just dude, what a frustrating figure, because he's on in the morning, and I think he's just doing this to get like people riled up, but he talks about just like how stupid like the moves are and stuff. It's just like, dude, no, this isn't stupid. These are moves that are happening because like the people can get fired up really quickly. And in fact, I was a part of the movement on AMC the other day, which I bought calls, and I was in them for a total of 7 minutes. And that's how you have to trade these, because they get crazy and they go fast and they go quick. And I was in it. I remember I started it off with price was around like 44, and I entered into the puts, the calls for the 48, and I got in, and they're priced out like crazy. Like just to enter into one was like $600. In 7 minutes, they were worth $1,000.
Dang.
And so I bought a few of those and then cashed out just past that. And so I had like a pretty good return. That's what happens when you buy calls, though. You buy calls when you see something moving rapidly like that. I got in at 44 and I got out around 47 and a half. But kind of like the trajectory it took, Actually, I think like we can show it to them.
Yeah.
Let's see. AMC, because I just love to go through this with people just to like help them kind of visualize what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're loading a 5-day, and so you can kind of see it just like the company, it kind of lingers around. We've identified that it hovers between the $30 range and the $40 range, but it made an exceptional move this week, so it's on the come up, sitting around 35, maneuvering through that 36, 37, and then yesterday comes around, and right around 1 o'clock, that's when things got interesting. Started climbing, was up 13%, 14, creeping, 19, it's ripping at this point, and I got in somewhere around like 44, right?
Yeah.
At like, look at this, from 240 to 245. It changed from 44 to like 47. And that I held it for a total of 7 minutes. I got in somewhere just below, just below 44, and got out somewhere just around 48. And this thing was ripping. And I think I cleared a little bit over a return of 35% for each that I entered into. But those are like the stressful situations that like I like to talk about here on the show, and the how we would manage that would be just like we illustrated on our website, that when you're in these moves, they're quick. You're in for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, maybe an hour or something if you really see how it progresses, and then you're out. And one of the things is that it's so tempting to be like, okay, but what if it gets to 50? What if it gets to 55? Like, okay, that's like $10,000 right there. These aren't like feasible moves. We've got to accommodate that. For each one of those, we put in $600, and like I bought a few of those, rocking at like $10,000 there. if that goes back down and turns around to the negative side, which it ended up doing, it fell down to like 42. Those go from 600 down to like 300. So you just cut 10,000 into this 5,000 if you're on that end. So that's why you got to get out fast. Wow. You got to make sure as soon as you start to see it, like start to like loop up and then come back down, you're out. Because this is not play money. This is the real deal.
Right.
And so I really want to talk about that. But another stock that rode through with this hype was Workhorse. Now, I love talking about Workhorse. I think everybody on here knows that I love talking about Workhorse. But what ended up happening with them is they caught some of the hype as well. GameStop was going up, AMC was going up, BlackBerry was going up, Workhorse was going up. And so I was in on a few calls for that as well. Got up to a high of around 9.8 and then turned back around. But what that meant was when it popped up to like 9.7 or 9.8 and then came back around, and it was down actually a pretty substantial amount today, down to around 9.4 or 9.3 at its low. This represented, because that's like very volatile, right? This represents a very good volatility movement. But what it's been doing recently is it's been holding the $9 and 8.5 mark very consistently. This was a volatility spike to the upside. And now that it's like moving down to the downside, people are thinking like, wow, it could go anywhere. It can't.
Right.
I'm put it right out there. It's not going below 8.5. The 8.5 calls that are puts, selling 8.5 puts for next week are sitting at roughly 2.8% return. That's ridiculous. 8.5, I don't believe it's going below 9, so I have a little bit of the 9s as well. Those are sitting at 4.7% return.
Why don't you think it's going to go below the 9s?
I think that's also best illustrated in a little bit of a showing, but that's what we like to do here on ROIS Podcast, show you guys a little bit of like what I'm thinking and where I think the stocks are going. But as we can see, kind of over like a 1 month, like the stock has dipped. It bounced down to 8.7 at its low. It didn't stay there for too long, honestly, and it's been above 9 for the majority of the time. I mean, it's been coming down, but I think there's just like a lot of selling of small caps at the time, and I think we might have seen the end of that. So it kind of fell. And now I have a feeling, since like it's hit this like up streak, that we're kind of safe. We're kind of safe at the 9s, and we're safe at the 8.5s. So how I allocated it was from the money that I put in. I put 75% of it at the 8.5s, and then I put the other 25% that I allocated into it at the 9s, for roughly about a return of, if we do like the averaging out of those, is somewhere around 3.2%. If it stays above that by next week. Here we go. The company was down. One day might be helpful for you guys. The company was down. It finished down the day down 3.4%. Okay, well, doesn't really want.
Looks like they wiped it clean.
It's gone to zero at this point.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe zoom out.
Page unresponsive.
Ah.
Okay.
Oh, that's sketchy.
Well, when you're right. But I just to break it down for you guys, the stock bounced down to somewhere around 9.27 or something today. Whatever. I'm done with these guys. Aw, snap. Whatever. I'm out of here.
Bounced down to 9.27.
Yeah, got down to 9.27, and then kind of cruised back up to where it was to like start the day around like 9.55, 9.6. Fell at the end of the day down to finish the day around 9.34, and now it's back up in after hours 1.5% to 9.5. These are signals. These are just signals. Like you can just if you just like, I think you talk about it as well. Like if you kind of watch a stock, you can tell like what it in its heart wants to do. Does it want to go up, or is it like is it waiting to go down? Is it waiting to go back up? Where is like the momentum behind these stocks? And for Workhorse, I think it's hit its like lows for a while, at least until the Fed tapers, and is waiting to try to get some momentum to break onto the upside. And I think that's why I'm interested in the 9 and 8.5 puts right now. I'm gonna let you guys keep track of that and hold me responsible. But next week when I come dancing in, because because we just had that kind of return, you guys are gonna know why. But these are the things that you got to do as an investor to be a smart one. You know, you can't. I mean, it's like great to hit those home run swings, right? The AMC calls that I had this week, that was a home run swing. But you know, that's not something that I do too often unless I see something that I really, really like. And until then, I just kind of sell puts on stuff. But like, I think you guys know that. And also something last week that I talked to you guys about was that I was going to be trying out some things from like investors.com and like the Motley Fool, and just seeing where that would take me and what kind of results those had. As of right now, they're representing Nucor Energy and MT and Cleveland Cliffs. So those are stocks that are material miners, and what those are known as defensive stocks. They are preparing for the worst case scenario.
What is a defensive stock?
It's a stock that's not going to lose too much value if the stock market absolutely falls apart. And they're betting on that for the future.
Who?
The people that are organizing stuff like this. I did a little bit of
Wall Street bets?
No, the people from I got a service from the Motley Fool, and I got a service from investors.com.
Oh, the software.
Or just like the stock, like kind of recommender from them. And gotcha. I just want to see just like how they do in comparison to how I do. Kind of just maybe even show to our audience that like what we're doing here is legit. But what they're betting on right now is that the Fed's going to taper sometime soon. Maybe this month, maybe the next one. And then after that, everything's going to just fall to pieces. Where do I think it lies on that? I think yes, they taper sometime. We've got some time before then, so why not capture some gains in some of these other stocks that are going on, like Workhorse? I think Workhorse after it, like, is kind of torn to shreds. Like, falls to 7 or 6.5. I don't really know. It's gonna just get hit hard. Like, that's
normally what happens.
And like, they're gonna sell off pretty hard. And one of my thoughts for that is I'm gonna short a little bit of the Nasdaq because that's way overvalued. I'm going to short like the NASDAQ and take on the technology sector because I think that the rally in the tech sector has been caused by like the low interest rates, and when that gets back to like a normal, or the Fed says that they're not going to like monitor that stuff, then they're going to kind of rise, and the interest rates will, and then those companies that have been inflated by like low interest rates were going to be hit pretty hard. So I have that for my plan. And I might be in a little bit of these names. I might take on one of those 2 defensive stocks, but that's only at that point. I don't think you need to jump the gun with any of these. You can take your time and, let that happen.
So I have a question. When the Fed's taper, what exactly does that mean?
So I'm not going to get into like exact, like super big detail, but what it means is like the government or the Fed keeps like interest rates low, kind of buying stuff back as like, I guess like bonds and stuff from people pumping money into like the market so that people can get money pretty easily, and that keeps the interest rates low. Gotcha. And so people are like enjoying like a bunch of like spending and stuff because the government's actively buying those back. But that's causing a big problem. That's causing a massive problem. Inflation's through the roof. All these stuff, like the hedge that they have for the defensive stocks is a great one because like all this stuff is going to be worth more in the future. Like they mine for like precious metals and like stuff like that, which is, it's defensive because like even during like tough times, like everybody's going to need like metal, everybody's going to need iron, everybody's going to need like copper, especially copper for like semiconductors, which are in high demand right now, and gold. And that's what these companies are looking into. Just getting stuff like that to consumers. And so that's going to be something that even in hard times are going to be still in demand. And that's kind of why they're looking at them right now. But when the Fed tapers, that's going to, be kind of catastrophic for them, like these growth stocks. And so I think I'm going to exit the growth stock names at those points, short the NASDAQ, and look into buying some of these defensive companies. But I don't think you need to do that yet. I think you still got a few weeks, maybe a month. Also, I think that takes us to cryptos as well, because I think that's another safe bet to put your money in as well.
Yeah, so if you've been looking at any crypto news, then you're well aware that one of our favorite cryptos that we're Solana.
Solana.
So basically, there's a company called Osprey, and so this was the headline for the article. Osprey readies SOL fund as Solana attracts institutional interest. Osprey funds have readied a private SOL fund for wealthy investors, signaling growing institutional interest in the Solana network's booming native token. Now, while this is good for the growth of Solana, for your everyday Joe, your retail investor, it's not really very significant for us, because the fund, called the Osprey Solana Trust, was registered with U.S. security regulators Tuesday. It didn't have any sales as of press time and is open only to accredited investors, which means that retail traders are shut out for now. So that's a little upsetting, but it's good to look at it. I feel like the best way to look at it is it's like a real deal crypto. They've also, big news with Solana is they just integrated Chainlink, which is a top crypto. If you go into CoinMarketCap, you can see that there. I feel like they mainly have worked with Ethereum, but now that, Solana is integrating them to offer crypto price feeds, which is very cool because they already did that for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that shows that Solana, it's becoming the real deal.
It's going to be competitive. And didn't we have a prediction that that's going to be like one of the top 3, top 4 cryptocurrencies? Give it a little bit of time, but it's going to be like top 3, top 4 right there.
It's going to be top 3, top 4, and then one more thing, just to add on to all of this cool news, is that Crypto Market-Data Network Pyth, that's the name of the company, is going live on Solana Blockchain, which is pretty cool. So people are starting to utilize Solana's blockchain.
What does that mean, that they're going to go live?
Whatever their service is, Pyth, whatever their service is, like they're going live on Solana's blockchain. For example, like Cardano, Cardano. At a time, Cardano went live on Ethereum. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what's happening here.
Oh, okay.
But just with Solana.
So they're going to go. Okay, so Solana, it has its own blockchain, isn't it?
Solana has its own blockchain, and it's better, it's quicker,
right? And it doesn't run on Ethereum or Bitcoins, right? Right. It's got its own shit, and its best thing.
Yeah.
It's quicker, it's cheaper, and it's scalable. This thing is meant for the future, and it is meant for the next transaction, the transaction after that, where Ethereum and Bitcoin are gonna have to go through something real rough to like actually update their stuff coming for the future.
Right. Well, and it's weird because if you think about it, like Ethereum has actually, it seems like they've made an effort to work with Solana in a way for that Project Wormhole or whatever it's called, where they can interact easily. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has not. I haven't seen them make any effort to do anything with Solana, or let alone anything else.
Does Bitcoin even care?
Dude, Bitcoin is just riding this wave that it's been on for
years.
Years.
I think it's just because it's popular and people are just like, oh, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. Like, that's just programmed into their head. And, they have that. I think they have that from the older investor, They have that from the investor that's, oh my God, cryptocurrency.
Senile.
Yeah, just old dudes that, just haven't really given, like, cryptocurrencies a chance or looked into it. And for the new age people that look in, check out all these cryptocurrencies and evaluate them by what they can do and see the potential benefits of the future, you're able to see why there's a benefit to Ethereum and Solana, especially with them going on to make updates for the future and work with each other.
Yeah.
That's so key. If I was a competitor and I saw another competitor of mine and I was just dang, they could really go off one day, I would try to work with them to see what are they able to do? Can I be a part of their network? They could be a part of mine so that we grow together.
Yeah, man, and that's huge because if you look at with stocks, with cryptos, each company, each crypto, they have a leader, right? So in a way, leadership really is everything, because you have a good leader at Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, who is on top of his shit. I mean, he's the world's youngest billionaire. He invented Ethereum, which has, spawned so many other great crypto assets and dApps and all of this stuff. And he's constantly trying to improve the Ethereum network. Whereas Bitcoin, I don't even know who their leader is.
Dude, has anybody seen that guy in like a year?
The guy who made it, Satoshi Nakamoto, no one knows who that is. He's not even real.
He's just like somebody that people think about every once in a while.
Yeah, like it's almost as if like I would like to think of Bitcoin as a murderer, in the beginning for people to start thinking about this kind of stuff. But I feel like eventually Bitcoin will dissipate as the real cryptos start to step in. The young
one with the
like
functional
us.
values.
Exactly. Like just like how you were talking about these old investors, like what are they going to do when a young buck walks into town and there's they're like pointing at something and I'm like, sir, are you trying to reach for that? And I go grab it for them. What are they going to do then? You know what I mean? It's just like
they're going to have to say thanks, Sonny.
Yeah, thanks, Sonny. And I'll be like, it's not going to be sunny for you later.
It's going to be pretty dark for you later.
Yeah, it's going to be dark in your mansion, but I'll be out here making money with a bunch of women.
Yeah, and we're going to be out here. We're going to be straight out here killing it. But it's because like we're seeing the like possibilities of this stuff, and even with like the financial like troubles with stuff going on with like cryptos, and they're still sitting around there in their own shadows. Like they're going to grow. They're going to continue to like make progress on what they're doing. And what we're saying is like not necessarily that Bitcoin's going to like go down. We're just saying that like on a pace of growth, like which ones are going to grow percentage-wise more. Like we see Ethereum growing faster than Bitcoin, and we see Solana growing faster than Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, I mean, Solana's already been outperforming them in the past few weeks in terms of growth. The thing about Bitcoin, though, that I find very interesting is that, the price prediction for it by the end of the year is supposed to be $100,000. And I am not doubting that at all. I wouldn't be surprised if it does go to 100,000. But the thing is, like, I think that, like we were saying, these older people who don't really know much about cryptocurrency, that's what they're thinking. They're like, okay, it's the biggest name, so we're going to invest in that. We're going to make it go up to 100,000, blah, blah, blah. But with these other ones, like, eventually people are going to catch on and understand that Bitcoin, its utility in terms of a crypto is just not there. You can't even compare it to Ethereum or like Solana. It was just the first one. So when you see, like I saw an article today, and it said that Bitcoin, it's like, why are cryptos going like shooting down or whatever? And I look at it, and it's like Bitcoin was at the price of $50,000, and I'm thinking, oh damn, did it go down to like 30,000? Like it's like 48,000. It's like that's not bad at all. Like anyone who invested a week ago would have made money still.
Nobody's like out here like shitting their pants, right?
Yeah, it's unless you bought it at 50,000.
And you bought like a million of them.
Yeah, that's your own. That's on you, okay? Because you should know if you've been watching our show that you don't do that.
we kind of. I mean, like I'd like to say it. I think I'm just gonna say it. It's like we will let you guys know when like we're hopping in, we're adding more to our like positions and stuff, and kind of giving you guys like a little bit of a hint. Like when we told you guys about Solana, we tell you guys about like AMC, we tell you about like Workhorse, we tell you about like all the good stuff that's coming in the future, and you guys stick around and like kind of follow us when we like put stuff out. We're going to let you know how to make some of the bigger bucks. But, like, have we ever talked about putting money into Bitcoin? I don't think so. No. I think every single time we talk about it, it's like either Ethereum or Solana. And there's a reason for it. It's because those are the winners. And those are going to be the winners of the future. And it's so funny that you mentioned, like, the older guys. Like, so one day, like, the older guys are going to retire and make their last stock pick or whatever like that. And then, like, there's going to be, like, new institutional investors. And they're going to be investing in cryptocurrencies, I think. And I think that's when you start to see like the real values and the real ones shining through. Stuff like Solana, stuff like Ethereum, even like some of the other ones that are out there like Polkadot. don't they have their own blockchain network or something like that?
Yeah, Polkadot, Uniswap.
Yeah, those are the ones that are going to shine through, and maybe they don't all make it, but like they get bought out by these other cryptos, or they like are like merged with them. I don't really know, but we'll see those kind of emerge, and then we'll see like some of the other ones kind of fade. And I think, unless Bitcoin does something kind of like rapidly, then they might fade a little bit. And I'm not saying they go away forever, but it's just stuff like that. And I think it's kind of funny. Another thing is, like, it was revealed on the news that Afghanistan actually it was like the 20 biggest country that was investing in cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, they're integrating it heavily now.
I think it's the future for countries like that. And I think they know it too. And like the quicker that they like get into that, the quicker that they're able to like, kind of even the playing field as like the like money shifts. Into crypto.
Yeah, they don't have to rely on us.
No,
the U.S.
And maybe that's kind of smart, but I mean, like, it's maybe now owned by like the Taliban, so like, who knows if that's like good or bad.
Hey man, honestly, I saw a video of them working out in the embassy, and they were all in their little robes and stuff and smiling.
Yeah, they
and
did
stuff.
look cute.
Dude, I'm not gonna. Yeah, they look kind of cute. Like I wouldn't go in there, but from a distance, I would say,
like from the United States distance.
Yeah,
from like a good distance. They do look like they're having themselves a time. I don't really know too much of what's going on over there. It's reported to not be like the best place. Very much not the best place.
Yeah, definitely.
But like as like cryptocurrencies are like taking off, like they were not dumb. They hopped in on the game, and to be the 20 biggest country that is investing in cryptocurrencies is quite nuts if you think about it.
It is
kind of just like what China would be doing. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like up there at like top 5.
Okay, and I just wanna say this real quick for our listeners. Just a little tip that I was talking about with Roy prior to the podcast was that if you have Crypto.com, if you have that app, you should get it for sure if you don't have it. And then go on the home screen, scroll down to top gainers, and look for ones about 4 places from the bottom, and then see if they're still going up. Like refresh. And then just see if their percentage is still going up. Because if they're at the bottom and they're still going up, they're going to rise that list till they're around, near the top or the top. If you have some money, just invest a little into those because they're normally cheap. And then, by the next morning, you'll probably have made some good profits depending on how much you put in. Either way, so far, I have made profits every time.
Do you want to give people like a little bit of an example? Because I think for like maybe somebody that doesn't do that like so often, like that's a little bit hard to like wrap my head around a little bit.
Yeah, so I'll show you guys right now.
Like what's a crypto that's kind of like smaller that you're like, okay, yeah, like this looks good right now if I were to like roll like. And what we're talking about is like not putting like the entire like fund into it, right? We're just like a little bit of it,
right.
A little bit of it.
Well, so there's this one. It's called IOST.
Okay.
Right? And I always look. What I like to do is I like to go and make sure I go to like 6 months. So by going to 6 months, I can see its highs that it's made before, and then this is where it's at now. Based off of the trends that have been happening with cryptocurrency, I have a feeling. I have a pretty good idea that this is gonna, reach that level
at
again.
some point.
Yeah, at some point, probably sooner than later, because that's like. So far, every one of these top gainers that I've done, that I've looked at, I'll do that, and then the price exceeds what its past highest point is.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
With like something like Solana and stuff, right?
Exactly.
Remember when
like
we were
Solana.
sitting there and we were seeing it at like 52 or 53, and then like its highest point was 55, and now it's sitting at 70? It does stuff like this does that, and I think I really like that strategy. This seems like well thought out. And it's a nice way to make money. Where does like the cryptos usually have like its biggest jump? Is it true that that's like at night or in the morning, like early in the morning?
I would say so it can be at night. I don't know. It kind of switches, but it's normally like AM for us, like around 1 a.m. to like fucking 6 a.m.
Then that's like Eastern time, like New York time, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. but it really just depends. Like, it just depends on, I mean, lately, yes, but when cryptos are going down, it's so unpredictable. But they're not going down right now.
They're on an uptrend. And a lot of them around them are on an uptrend. And they're kind of just like, and what they do is they follow Bitcoin, or they're ahead of Bitcoin, but they're all kind of traveling in like a pack, like a pack of moose. Or I don't know what travels in a pack, like a pack of wolves.
No.
Okay, so they're walking around, and like one sees like the fresh food over there, and then they're like, okay, let's go munch. And then like, it's not like maybe the biggest buck is getting to it first, but it's like the guy that sees the opportunity, and eventually everybody in the herd gets to it, but like they'll get to it at a different time because maybe they like the food over here a little bit better or whatever. But like they're gonna be munching, and we can see that since it's in an uptrend, like all of them are kind of rolling together. And I think that this is like a pretty good way of like making money in the market. I think that this is a really good, smart strategy. I guess like one question that I have is just like a follow-up is like, where do you trade these? Crypto.com. Is that like the...
It's an app though, people. It's like, even though it says crypto.com, you have to use it on your phone. Okay. It's not... If you type it on the computer, you're not going to be able to trade on crypto.com.
They're probably going to take you somewhere
which is very
weird.
Strange, but... Yeah, no, it takes you to crypto.com so you can download it.
Wow, what a scam. Yeah. They're like, oh, you're here and you want to trade? No. Just get the
Can you imagine if they had a real website, like platform? Like that'd be
so
sick.
That some people can actually trade on crypto.com?
Yeah, like on the desktop. That would be cool.
I feel like that'd be something that you'd start with, but like who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I guess it is it's smart. I mean, I don't normally, for me, like when I'm just looking at the cryptos, it's so accessible and easy and stuff. By the way, this isn't an ad for them or anything. I love it because it's so much easier to just look at what you have, look at the top gainers, and then just like look at, from the present time to the past 6 months. It's just so easy. Like the layout, everything about it compared to like Binance. Binance is a more advanced exchange, but for our purposes, we're going to be talking about crypto.com because that is perfect for any new investor.
I think that's kind of like the reason why I like talking about like the stuff that I do on Robinhood. It's like is like it's on your phone and it's meant for your phone. It feels good in your hand, and like I can do everything by swiping around. If I want to buy something, I can type it, and then like I can swipe up, swipe down, and then it's just kind of like boom, boom, boom. I mean, like I don't recommend this, but I could do it while driving if I needed to. But like if I'm trying to use like TD, like I look in there and I'm like, okay, like do I want to like proceed with this ticket? Like no. Do I want to like add? Am I sure? Like what? Like do I want to add an additional dollar just to make sure? Like Robinhood never really asks you questions like that. I'm just kind of like, yeah, I have this trade. I think I thought it out. Like let me just do it as fast as possible and like let it like work well in my hands. And I kind of like, I think like apps like that are like a part of our future in terms of trading and stuff like that. So that's a good find.
And let me ask you something, Roy. Is Robinhood, are you able to use that on the desktop, or do you have to download the app?
You can use it on the desktop, but it's just not as user friendly. I think they made it for the app. Like they made it for the app, and I think that that's so smart because people are so much more on their phones and like, when I would go to watch or go check through like Twitter or like Instagram or something like that, just killing time. Like I'm on my phone, I'm never logged in on that on like a desktop. I'm not like.
Yeah, you're a
loser. I'm not like a crazy guy. I usually am just on my phone. So I think they made it for people that are kind of like us. And I thought it was so funny that Robinhood came out with like announcements and that they had trouble like saying that they're gonna have people of like the future like sign up. But then like the next day it was up. Like the company's stock was up like 5% because they talked about like how many people are getting into cryptos, and it's just like. Duh.
Oh wow.
Duh.
And they don't even have that many.
They don't even have that many on there. And we told this on our last show. It's just like if they really wanted to like pick up some stock price or something like that, like why don't you make like a full integration of like cryptocurrencies?
For real.
I'd be flocking. Strange. Like if I could do my like trading and all of my cryptos in one place, like someone give me like somebody call 911. And I'm having a heart attack because that'd be amazing. Instead right now. I go in, do Robinhood, I go in, I do like my crypto.com. Like if I can do that, if not, I have to like download like 10 apps, and it's just like Jesus.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
And I think, I guess one thing that I just want to say before we wrap it up is that this is kind of the time of the future, and like a good time to start thinking about like what's going to be advancing in our future. And pause for dramatic effect, but
Yes, I like
one
that.
thing that we have going on in our future is China. It's scary.
Yes.
So
Impending doom.
they are a scary place. Not if you live in China. I mean, like maybe.
Well, it depends. If you're Muslim, you're going to be put in a
Yeah,
camp.
and they're gonna like shoot you or something.
Something.
That's what I mean. At least my roommate Nadine says stuff like that. So
It ain't Spring
yeah,
Hill, I'll tell
it's
you
not.
that.
It's not a retirement home. And so we're
No.
thinking about the future. We're thinking about China, and one thing that they're doing is they are heavily invested in their future. Like the United States kind of seems like we're doing a lot of things. We're like looking around to like try to like fight wars and stuff like that. China,
We're spread pretty thin.
yeah, we're spread pretty thin, and we're not making like a direct movement one way. One thing that China has done is they literally own Africa. They own it.
Yeah.
You know what they did?
How?
They invested nearly $500 billion into Africa over the last 5 to 10 years to just develop all their technology.
That's crazy.
They even made this, I forgot which country, but they made like this, like the headquarters of this one African country. Like they made the entire like union building that they like go to. Like that, like they have like their headquarters at. And surprise, surprise, 5 years later, they found out that entire place was bugged.
Wouldn't you know?
Wouldn't you know it? What a great investment,
Just like
though.
the Soviet Union.
What a great investment, though, right? Like China's making these
Yeah.
power moves, and we're losing. We're straight up as a nation, as the United States nation, we're losing, and we're getting swept. And like nobody even here knows that we're even in a battle. It's like people are shooting at us, and we're like, "Do you hear gunshots?" Like they're
right.
fully equipped with like their like newest and best technologies, like shooting off like rockets at us, and we're like,
They have super soldiers.
"Dude, they do," and we're like.
Physically modified human beings.
Dude, and like we're just kind of like now just getting like our guns ready. Like actually, as of today, in like the White House, there was a conference about like cybersecurity and like the United States ramping that up between
With
with
Microsoft.
Microsoft, Apple, Intel, like all the CEOs of all these
Wow.
companies were there. And actually, Microsoft pledged to put $30 billion towards like the efforts and try to make this like a safer nation for us going forward. It's just like, is this too little, too late? Like, are we? I think we might be on the losing battle of this. Like, it's a little too late.
Do you think that Microsoft pledged that much because of how they got hacked really badly a little bit ago? Do you think like they're trying to like, redeem themselves?
I
in
think
a
so.
way?
I think that might be a little bit about it, because and like one thing about that is like when you hack Microsoft, you don't just hack Microsoft. They like work with like a bunch of different like companies. So you hack Microsoft, and then you're like, oh, let's go take a trip over to Apple. Oh. And then now you got
Right.
Apple's information. You're like, oh, okay, like so we got Apple and Microsoft. Like, what else would we like to own? Do I need like let me just get a little bit of like Walmart information and Target, while I'm at it, and
So
then
much
you just
information.
and then basically you just hack the entire world, and yeah.
China hacked the entire world.
No, I mean like it sounds funny, but yeah, they did. Like
No. Yeah, like they did.
and it's just so scary because like Taliban just got like their freedom and whatever, and we're just kind of like whatever, good luck. And China's just like, hey, dude, like haven't seen you in a minute. Like, what's up, Afghanistan? And they're like, yo, you guys
Yeah.
need like an investment of like 10 billion. And then they're like, yeah, that sounds good. And then like, those
my
African
gosh.
countries are like, hey, don't do it. And like, they don't hear them over like the screams because like they're just getting shot at.
yeah, for
They're just
real.
drowning out in the silence because it just sounds like such a tempting offer. It's like, you want 10 billion free dollars? All you need to do is just get our technology.
Do you think we're taking into account this? Like, are we? Is the Biden administration taking into account like that China is probably most likely actually is going to go into Afghanistan once we're completely
They're already
out.
making like they've already applauded like the movements and stuff, and like
They've applauded the movement.
just like,
Gosh.
they're just like, wow, what a great, like, you know, finally getting their independence or something like that. You know, the entire like
Right.
EU is just like condemning them, and they're like, you guys suck, like you guys need to go to jail, like, you know.
Yeah, we're just calling them pieces
And
of
then
shit
China's
and
like,
all this
well, you know,
stuff.
like you're actually like pretty cool.
Yeah, China's sitting back, just kind of clapping as they see the people clinging onto the helicopter. They're like, oh.
what a nice thing. You know, but
But,
it's just so sad. And I think, you know, as much as we joke around, this is serious. This is a very serious matter. But why not be a little invested in Chinese companies if this is the case?
Yeah.
So one company that I've also been looking at and have added to, because Chinese companies have been kind of on the down spike. You know, they've really been beat down bad. Like, first off, the government of China said, like, we're going to regulate them super hard. We're not going to let them grow how they want. And then the United States came out and was like, yeah, actually, we're going to, like, screw you guys over even more by, like, making you guys put out, like, special regulation rules and stuff like that. So these companies took a hit, like Baidu, Alibaba, and then my favorite of those group, JD.com. And JD.com, what they do is, like, they're, like, the kind of, like, I mean, like, a little bit like the search engine, or, like, where you go to, like, make your purchase on all these. And as, like, the people of China, like, grow, like, as more and more of them, like, get born, like, this thing's inevitably, it has to, like, get bigger. I think this is a no-brainer, and also, even with, like, these companies getting, like, beat down bad for all these regulations, they came out with earnings and they killed it. Like, they were the only company up, like, in double digits out of the earnings for this stuff.
Wow.
Even though, like, the other two, Alibaba and Baidu, came out and were down on their news. And I
Because you have to be using it. You have to be.
Yeah.
Like, you have to use it to purchase.
so this is a no-brainer. They're just going to get bigger and bigger. And I think, like, I don't have too much, you know, invested in, like, really no Chinese stocks except for JD.com. And I think, you know, check it out a little bit later, but, like, they're about to be, like, a big play in the future. That's a part of my investment side, though. But it's because China's making investments for the future, so why get completely shut out?
Yeah, you might as well profit from the destruction and demise of the United States.
I mean, like, if the United States isn't going to do anything about it, like,
right?
might as well be profitable.
Right. Yeah, I completely.
We're
agree.
being businessmen here. I'm not applauding what they're doing.
right.
You know, I'm saddened by this news, but, like, okay, what are we going to do about it? We're gonna become profitable and make the best moves, and that's what Roy's investments are all about. And this is Roy's podcast, and we really want to see everybody get better. And I don't want to see any of my community or any of my homies out there struggling. So why not all get better? And that's why we do this podcast. It's for us, you know. It's for the community.
Hell yeah.